Hello and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today I'd like to talk about modding guitars. Now, there are some dangers when you decide to go down the rabbit holes that I've gone down in my guitar journey, where you start kind of like modding things just for the sake of doing it, rather than maybe thinking about, oh, what is the actual functionality of this going to be? Is it actually going to be a benefit to me ergonomically or tonally? And what I've been discovering lately is that I've actually been kind of rolling backwards a little bit on some of my guitars, because there's a point where almost all of them were just filled with mods. Lots of little, mini switches on them, push-pull pots with hidden features and all sorts of things like that. And I want to kind of also really quickly go over, there's a difference between modding and upgrades. If you're putting new tuners or a new bridge or a new vibrato system in your guitar because the old ones just quite simply aren't any good, that's one thing. I'm talking more about where you're just kind of like doing tricks and fancy things just for the sake of doing them to see if you can, maybe, number one. Number two, you're looking for a function that your guitar doesn't already have, and sometimes that works out really well. Most of the time it does. But what I found is that I went way too far, specifically on a lot of my Fender stuff. Stratocasters are eminently easy to modify, and there's all sorts of different combinations. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to go over a couple of Stratocasters that I have and kind of detail my journey with them, and to point out, well, maybe some of it's unnecessary, maybe some of it's a little bit too much, and then also discuss the guitar that I returned back to stone stock. Because what I'm beginning to appreciate more, which I alluded to in just a moment ago, is that I'm enjoying a guitar just in its stock format, without any bells or whistles, without any hidden functions, without oh geez, my eye's going crazy here. Give me a second. All right, I'm back. But anyway, I'm beginning to really enjoy just kind of playing stock guitars as much as my modded ones. So let's start with my very first Strat I ever owned. This guitar has been on the channel a number of times. It is my Tokai Stratocaster. This is a, late 80s parts caster that I have heavily modded. In its current state, I will go through all of the controls. Now, when the pickup selector switch is in the traditional bridge position, it is actually the neck pickup in its regular configuration. Sounds very nice. And then when you go to the next position, we are now with our neck and bridge together. When we go to the middle position, we are now at bridge only. Going to our next position, we are now looking at an out of phase with neck and bridge only. And then in the neck position, we have the neck, but with a little bit of a bass roll off on it so that it's a little bit brighter. So this is a Fralin mod, and what it gives me is, like I said, it gives me my neck, it gives me my neck and bridge, it gives me bridge only, out of phase, and then a bass roll off on the neck. That is a super cool switch. That is a very powerful tool. Now you may be asking, what about the middle pickup? Middle pickup becomes engaged when you pull this up. Let's go to the neck and listen to it again by itself. Then we pull this up and we've got our middle pickup in. So using that, we can now combine the middle pickup with any of the other pickup configurations. And this knob right here is not a traditional tone knob. If I roll that off, then it's just the middle pickup. So I have the infinite variety of Strat pickup combinations here. Now, if somebody were to pick up this guitar, besides myself, and just start playing it, and start flipping the switch and just kind of going through, they'd be like, whoa, this is kind of nuts. These sounds are not the sounds I'm used to hearing. And I do enjoy this, but what I found over time is that when I'm playing, I usually just go to the neck or the bridge. All of this other stuff, while it's cool to have, and I do utilize it at times, but not very often, is just kind of extra baggage. It also, if I don't play this guitar for a while, when I sit down with it, I'm just like, what is going on? Oh, I have to like remember all of these various mods that I've done to the guitar. It is cool to have this, but if this were my only Stratocaster, I think over time I would start getting a little bit of option paralysis. Just kind of like going, why do I have all these various functions on this guitar? What was I thinking? Which brings me to what I did to my second oldest Strat, my black Strat. I've had this guitar, oh geez, I've had it for 32, 33 years. And what I did with this one is I had it modded out kind of like that. I had Nashville wiring in it and I had all the craziness. And what I've done over the past years, I just took this guitar and put it back to stock. And, you know, so everything is your typical thing. You know, there's a neck, and then we've got our neck in our middle. Middle. Then we've got, of course, middle and bridge. And then bridge. And my tone controls do what tone controls normally do on a Strat. This one's for the neck pickup, this one's for the middle pickup, and just a volume control. And what I find is that now when I hop on this guitar, you know, it's just... It's just fun to have it just do what it's supposed to do. Then I just flick down to the bridge, and I'm doing my bridge stuff, you know. Which is nice. So, I mean, this isn't like revelatory stuff that a stock Strat has all of those settings, but it actually was for me because I had modded all of my Fender Strats to be kind of crazy wiring, you know, wizardry all over the place. And when I returned this one, and then I returned my 2004 Mexi Strat, I returned it to stock. And as I returned those instruments to stock, I've just really enjoyed playing them more because of the simplicity of just going, I know what to expect. This is what this guitar was designed to do. Now, does that mean I'm against modding? Absolutely not. I just think that people with a more limited number of instruments should beware of modding too much, because I think that you can get to a point where, you know, yeah, you know, you want a coil split. So you go ahead and, you know, let's pretend this has a humbucker in it and you just, you know, you put a push-pull in there. That's fine. But I was starting to get to the point where I had little mini switches like buried in between my knobs, and I started to like even forget what exactly the functions of those things were. And I think that it would be wise to have like one or two instruments in your arsenal that are kind of, you know, default modding platforms so that you can mess around with them, you can experiment, you know, buy some extra pick guards so that, you know, I keep you know, heavily modded pick guards. I kept all of them because it's like, well, you know, I drilled all those holes and put all those little switches in. Maybe at some point that'll be interesting on a different instrument, but I would highly advise keeping at least one or two of your guitars as your modding platforms, and keep one or two or however many guitars you have, but keep some in stock condition as well, because I think that you'll find that bouncing between the two is a lot of fun, and there's a huge value in just having an instrument that you can either hand to somebody else, use in a studio session. On stage, you're not going to be like, oh, what did I just hit? You know, and just keeping it simple. So, the best of both worlds is my answer for that. But it is kind of nuts if you do start modding all of your guitars and become, kind of an option paralysis person like myself, where it's just like, I don't even know what this guitar is supposed to do or what it's supposed to sound like anymore. Because it gets a little bit crazy if you go too far down the rabbit hole. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe would be wonderful. Shares are also appreciated, and the comments section. Has anybody else ever done this, where you've just like modded out all your guitars to the point where it's just kind of like, boy, it'd kind of be nice just to be able to play just a stock instrument again? And let me know. All right, you take care, and we'll see you next time.